Welcome to another episode of the Bobcast. As you might have seen, Russell Westbrook has requested a trade from the Houston Rockets after only 1 year, a failed experiment, you could say. And so to discuss it today and where are some potential teams that he could go to in the future, we have the number one Westbrook hater, Mr. Arjun July Ramen Noodles Ramen, and he's going to give his opinions on what teams he thinks Westbrook should go to. I'm going to say what team I think Westbrook should go to, and we're just going to have a back and forth. So, Arjun, I'm going to transition it to you.
Okay, so personally, as the number one Westbrook hater in the world, as the self-proclaimed number one Westbrook hater in the world, I would have to say that this has been one of Russell Westbrook's best seasons in the NBA. This past season on the Rockets, he actually learned how to properly play team basketball with another superstar and made better decisions. But this is not really like much of an improvement because the bar was set so low for him in his previous years in OKC as the primary ball handler on the team that was not ever very good. His team was only good whenever he had Kevin Durant, and ever since, first round sweep until he playoff loser all around. So and this year, he learned that he started to make better decisions with the basketball, not turning over the ball as much, not taking bad shots. And one of the ways he improved his game was with not taking so many 3-point shots. However, to fix his game and suit the team as much as possible, the team had to trade away all their big men. There wasn't a single center on that team after. So, as you guys know, that's not going to work against teams like the Lakers that have Anthony Davis. And when PJ Tucker's guarding Anthony Davis, that's not going to work out. So, to change the whole team just for it to fail, it doesn't look good for the Houston Rockets' future. And contending with any team in the West, such as the Nuggets or the Lakers, that have very superstar, and even the Mavs to a lesser extent, that have superstar level big men. So to start off with potential trade destinations for Westbrook, I'll give it back to Ronit. And one of the teams that has been on the news for advanced discussions has been the Knicks. So Ronit, what are your thoughts on the Knicks landing Russell Westbrook?
I don't like the Knicks as a potential destination for Westbrook. And from both perspectives, I think it's just a bad deal from both sides. From the Knicks' point of view, I really don't get what their plan for the future is, if you will. To me, from the outside, as someone who wants the Knicks to succeed, who has a financial stake in the Knicks, I would like them to rebuild and start to develop their young talent. I think that's what direction they're moving in. That's what direction it appears that they're moving in. But it's New York, and you have James Dolan, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if they went out and tried to get Westbrook just because he's a superstar and just because he's going to put people in seats. And so that wouldn't surprise me one bit, but it just doesn't make sense from a basketball perspective. From a business perspective, maybe, but even then you can argue that it's New York. People are going to come and watch the Knicks no matter what. They're the most valuable franchise in the NBA, and they suck every year. They haven't had any title success whatsoever. So, and then you look at it from Westbrook's point of view, I just don't see why Westbrook would ever want to go to the Knicks. Not saying that he's obviously going to have any say in where he goes. I think he may, just because I don't think the Rockets are that type of organization to want to leave someone with ill will. But if he does have some sort of say, I don't see why he would want to go to the Knicks. Russell Westbrook, for all his flaws, I think the one thing you can't challenge is his mentality to succeed and to win and be the best. And New York is the antithesis of all those three things that I just said, and I don't see any reason why he would want to risk his future and risk his success just to play in New York. So I mean, the names that are being floated around right now, like you mentioned to me, Sacramento, New York. I think you're going to bring up Detroit. These teams they just don't. I mean, maybe Sacramento doesn't really fit with the other two, but the other teams just don't. It doesn't make sense for Westbrook to join those teams, and it doesn't make sense for those teams to want to get Westbrook. And as a Pistons fan, I know that I would not want to see Westbrook on the Pistons at all. I think it was floated before he went to Houston that he might be traded to Detroit, and I was 200% against that idea. I thought we should focus on tanking, and thank God Troy Weaver has his priorities straight. That I think that's what we're doing right now. But the point is that the Westbrook to me needs to go to a contender.
So I will agree with you on one of the things of your points is that Westbrook's best quality is his mentality, his as you say, like as people say, like his dog mode, as in he will refuse. He always goes 100% all the time. Like full drive. It is his best quality, which could also let him down at some points. But I would say in a league full of like players who sometimes take plays off on defense and sometimes just, I don't know, like take it lackadaisical. Like he's a refreshing, like he's a breath of fresh air. And so I really appreciate that about Westbrook. However, I think he said one of the main things he said about leaving Houston was that he wanted to be the main floor general, the main ball handler on a team. And while I think that the main thing I'm going to say is that I don't think there is a good place for Russell Westbrook to go. Like, if you trade for Russell Westbrook, especially with this contract, you're basically throwing in the towel and saying, I want mediocrity for the next 5 years. I don't care if you win a championship, just put fans in the seat. You're choosing money over winning, right? Yeah. Like you're just choosing. And so obviously that in mind, I think you have to pick the best of the worst, and that is the Knicks. I think the Knicks have to be the most obvious choice here, just as in the Knicks haven't had a star like Westbrook in years. It's literally been since Carmelo.
Yeah,
since Carmelo. Yeah, since Carmelo. They haven't had a superstar. So Westbrook will be that guy that will take them back to, let's say, 40 wins, potentially 7 seed, 8 seed playoffs. I think they haven't had playoff success in like so long. I think and James Dolan wants like fans to be somewhat excited. Like I think James Dolan would love this. Like he definitely is like not a winning guy. He probably just wants the money. And Westbrook would definitely sell jerseys in New York. It could potentially be one of the best selling jerseys in the league, and with the amount of Knicks fans there are. So I think as in like Knicks fans will hate this. It's something that I think like if Knicks fans like are actually like true Knicks fans, they would despise the move if they after trade it, because like the potential trades are like they'd have to give up. I mean, they don't have to give up anyone substantial. I think Rockets will just trade. I think Rockets are just looking to offload him. They don't care what they get back. They just want him off their books. So honestly, I think the Knicks could just give him up. Like I think one of the potential trades included like Bobby Portis and Julius Randle, and that's not bad. Like those are 2 bad contracts on the Knicks. Like I don't know why you have 2 power forwards you're paying $20 million for that are like pretty much like not that good anyways. And
that's who I would think is Julius Randle. I mean, he's still maybe he's not all-star level, but he's still very respectable. Averages 20 points a game. So that's someone who could, and is a big man who I think the Rockets desperately need. So they need to get some big men, and obviously this is like one of the ways they can do it. Obviously, Julius Randle's not going to solve any problems, and this is going to throw the Rockets back, and they're going to have to. It looks like the Rockets are headed back to a rebuild if James Harden gets traded too, which there are some speculations about, but not confirmed yet. However, they're with the new coach. What's his name?
it was like the Mavs assistant,
Steven Silas.
Steven Silas, right? He is gonna come in. He helped generate the like Luka's
Best offense of all time.
Best offense of all time. With him even being out for a couple games, like that's a pretty insane record to have, especially given like even if the modern NBA is so fast paced, there were faster paced offenses like in like the 80s and 70s, and so I'd still say this is like an insanely good offense, and so I think Steven Silas is a pretty good hire, and we'll see how like where he takes them. But with respect to the Knicks, obviously going back to the Knicks, it's going to be if this is a move that the Knicks make, it's literally for money. They just want to be good, like not good, like average to above average for the next 5 years.
It's going to be about money and some people that jump out at you that could be traded. Randle, Reggie Bullock is another one that really fits the Rocket system very well that they were probably be very interested in. Mo Harkless is another one. So there's definitely
Bobby Portis.
Bobby Portis. There's
getting
definitely
paid,
some people
I think like $16 million a year.